I'm John Peterson, author of Playing at the World and Game Wizards. You are listening to Morris's unofficial tabletop RPG talk.
This week, Morrus and PJ talk about the recent controversies with AI-generated art. Again. In the news, new releases coming for the Fallout RPG, the Valiant Adventures RPG from Green Ronin is headed to Kickstarter, the Paranoia video game has been released, and more! Plus, a brand new sketch about the usefulness of the 10-foot pole. This week on Morrison's unofficial tabletop RPG talk.
Today's podcast isn't sponsored by anyone, because apparently I have a bad attitude. Me, a bad attitude. I'll tell you who has a bad attitude. All of you. But that won't be a problem after I complete my plan for worldwide domination. Now, where did I put my to-do list?
All the tabletop role-playing news. We aim to amuse and we aim to enthuse. And Morris's unofficial tabletop RPG talk.
Hello, and welcome to Morris's unofficial tabletop RPG talk. I am Russ, aka Morrus, or Morrus, aka Russ, and with me this week is
PJ Coffey from the Southampton Guild of Roleplayers. Russ, as ever, it is a delight to be here. Alas, we are without Jessica this week.
Jessica is in Wales. She's in Wales fighting dragons, I think she said. I'm not sure.
Why would you fight a dragon inside a whale? Look at your
I hope Darryl leaves that pause in. If he doesn't, there was like a 5-second pause there where I just looked blankly at Anyway,
moving on.
Let's get on with a little bit of news, shall we?
Yeah. It's like I feel I'm a bit lacking in substance. All I have is like little tiny bits of news, cool bits of news. So
it has been a quiet week. It's the week before Christmas, so, it's going to be quiet. But there is bits and pieces. So I've got a bit of news, which shame Jess isn't here this week.
Is it about
related to her favourite game of all time, and possibly her favourite thing of all time, is Baldur's Gate 3.
Best friends.
On D&D Beyond, you can now get official character sheets for all of the companions. Astarion, Gale, Karlak, I can't even pronounce their names, Lae'zel, Shadowheart, and Will.
Yeah. Lae'zel's a Battlemaster fighter.
Yeah.
Will is Pax of the Fiend.
Yeah. So official stats over on D&D Beyond, I think probably first level, I imagine.
Yeah, I think likely.
Because as you go up, they become more your characters, don't they? As you choose. But So Baldur's Gate fans, go and get the character sheets. Play them as first level characters in your game if you wish, or don't. You don't have to do that. I'm not your dad.
Yeah.
Or am I? No, I'm definitely not.
I'm
almost sure I'm not.
Yeah. Shall we get on to something completely different?
Yeah. Let's go on to something completely different. Go on. Yes. You got something?
I'm actually super excited by this because I don't often talk about like all the games I've written and so forth, but there's one in particular which I've been very keen on. Well, it's hard to say I'm like super keen on it because it's like quite fluffy, but it's very swords and sorcery. It's called Barbarians of Lemuria. I've also come across Barbarians of the Apocalypse and so forth, and I just really enjoyed it every time I've had a go with it. That it's getting a new English language edition, which is pretty sweet. So coming soon. So I like things about it, like it's very simple to make characters. Like you got 4 ability scores. You've got like a background, like servant or a slave or like I don't know, a fortune teller or whatever, and you use that to help influence your roles. And the magic system basically is like very loosey goosey, but it's basic, but more props and paraphernalia for us. It's easier to do things.
Yeah,
and stuff like if you could do it, that's a low level spell. If a whole pile of people could do it, that's a second level spell. And if it would just be impossible for even an army of people to do it, that's a third level spell. I'm like, oh, nice. And it all tends to be ritual magic, which I think really solves a lot of problems I have with magic in games.
Yeah.
Because it makes it more strategic rather than tactical.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't a game where you're like just chucking a fireball at someone because you don't like their face. It's like it's more likely you're set off to defeat the evil wizard as they're working to make sure that all their spell goes off properly, because they're making it easier for themselves to cast it by doing it at the full moon with a whole bunch of lads around to give them some extra power, with the proper sacrifices at the correct time of night, and all those things make the spell level more and more easy to do.
Yeah.
And that just falls out naturally from the system, and I really like it. It's very cool. I should learn that sometime.
So what was that? A new edition, did you say?
A new English edition.
Oh, cool.
Apparently it's doing extremely well in French.
Right.
So, yeah. Which I had no idea about. It's only when it came up, I'm like, this is okay, Bob is tomorrow. That's really awesome. Anyway,
Yeah.
make it out what you will. Like, I noticed there is a rather nice, completely unofficial, completely fan-made bestiary for Level Up has appeared.
Oh.
Which is quite cool. Yeah, yeah. Fairlin, who working name, I want to say Jessica Wolfman, did the Handbook of Heritages.
Yes.
Which I very much enjoy and would recommend to people. I read through it had a bunch of heritages, a bunch of cultures, and I was like, this is good stuff. Good work. Has done the same thing by converting monsters from Dragon magazine. And that's available from ianwild.org. So there you go. I shall certainly have a play with some of those monsters. They look fun.
Lovely. A couple of other games coming out soon. So Green Ronin announced back in April that they were going to be doing a superhero RPG based on the Valiant universe. I'm not super familiar with that, but I'm told that it's like the third largest comic book superhero universe after like Marvel and DC.
Is it?
I'm told. I mean, I'm not an expert on this subject.
I'm just going to have a quick Google and see if I can recognise any of the characters.
Well, there's a Exo, Manowar, Bloodshot, Shadow Man, Harbinger, Archer, and Armstrong. But anyway, it's being powered by Mutants and Mastermind, their superhero system.
Okay, yes.
And it's hitting Kickstarter on January the 16th. So they announced it in April. I assume they've been working on it since. There's going to be 3 books in the initial launch.
Nice.
The Valiant Adventures Heroes Handbook, the Game Master's Kit, and the Worlds of Valiant Sourcebook.
Yeah.
So that is a thing. I mean, they did a licensed DC Heroes thing powered by Mutants and Masterminds like, I don't know, 10 years ago or something. I can't remember when, long time ago. So it's not their first time they've done sort of big licensed comic book adaptions and powered it with Mutants and Masterminds. But this is coming very soon.
Yeah, I'm just scrolling through and I'm like, I did not recognise any of these characters. So, but I'm not a big comics person, so my apologies to listeners who are busy shouting, "You fool, Coffey!" How they not recognise these characters? Sorry. Not even seen Forbidden Planet, to be honest.
I'll tell you what is interesting, though. I posted this news item on Ian Road and people already got it confused with Tales of the Valiant from Several Press already. So that's going to maybe cause them. I mean, I think the comic book has prior claims to the word Valiant, but it's been around for ages.
I mean, I'll be honest, like Several Press, great lads. A lot of good books, a lot of very good books. But such an error in nomenclature, going from the absolute banger of a name, Project Black Flag, to Tales of the Valiant.
Yeah,
I mean, quite frankly, I
liked Black Flag as a name. I liked that.
Yeah, I mean, some people say, "Oh, it's a bit Pirates of the Caribbean." I'm like, well, sure. I was looking forward to it's the Forgotten Realms, but all the monarchies have been overthrown and replaced with democracies and republics. Well, that's what's going on at the moment. How do you like that? Because that would be pretty amazing.
Yeah.
They've just gone completely anarchist. But alas, it's Tales of the Valiant. I'm sure it will be fine. I'm looking forward to doing my favourite thing, which is getting game systems that should not go together and banging them together and see what happens.
Let's see what happens. Yeah, let's put them in a blender and see what happens. we don't
pretty
actually
much.
do that. Don't take your books and put them in a blender and see what happens. I don't think that will work.
The blender is metaphorical, dear listeners.
Put them in a
I refer to
metaphorical blender. Yes.
I call it, for want of a better word, my mind.
Important safety tip. Use
Yeah,
metaphorical blenders. Yeah.
Well, you got to be careful about mixing metaphors.
Well, yeah. Anyway,
they're better shaken, not stirred.
oh, don't stop now. Stop this nonsense.
Okay, sorry.
Let's talk about Paranoia instead. Not the concept of paranoia, but the game Paranoia.
Oh yeah, it's
so
on a new edition now, is it?
Well, there's a video game coming.
Is it?
Well, it's returning more than coming.
I saw something about it, but I was just like, I don't understand it. I'll ask Russ.
Yeah.
What's going on with that?
Well, basically, it was a video game called Paranoia Happiness is Mandatory on Steam, based on the tabletop role-playing game.
Which, to refresh our listeners and for our newer listeners, if you haven't played it, Paranoia is a game where you have color-coded, troubleshooters, because they see trouble and they shoot it, who are deathly opposed to communists, mutants, people belonging in secret societies, or commie mutant scum. Anyway, your character is either a communist, mutant, or a member of secret society, and you're working through your clones whilst trying to avoid, because you get cloned. Like, death is not the end; you just get recanted. And
it's a very silly game, in a good way.
I'm told there is a way to make it like a really interesting Eastern
Europe. It could be a really dark dystopian game as well. Yeah, but I think most people who play it just get silly.
Yeah, I've only seen it like in the farcical fashion. I'm not such a fan of that because it breaks my immersion, but I can see the fun side. So yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, this video game though, it was originally released in January 2020, briefly before it mysteriously disappeared from Steam. And what happened was, while it was out, they got a lot of really bad reviews as well.
Is it?
Yeah, back in 2020. So I don't know if the game it's reappeared on Steam now, sort of 3 years later.
Oh,
I don't know whether it's different or whether they've changed it. But it's reappeared. So it's got nothing to do with Mongoose Publishing, who produced a tabletop role-playing game, but the game is based on the tabletop role-playing game. But there were some legal documents in 2022 which a French video game website uncovered, which might explain what happened. And apparently the publisher, called Big Ben, I believe, released the game in violation of its license.
Okay. Wow.
So what happened was there was supposed to be an approval phase before it was released from the actual IP owners, and that did not happen. And what was released was a game which didn't meet the quality, I guess, standards that they set.
Yeah. I think I remember there being something like, was it 74 major bugs or something like that? Which seems like a lot more major bugs than I'd be happy shipping something. Myself.
Well, I don't really know about it, whether that's a lot of bugs or not with a video game. I couldn't tell you, but I mean, it's weird because like they released it when they got told to take the game down and they refused.
Right.
And that's when the lawsuit happened.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
So I guess it's been resolved now, and I don't know what's going on now, but I guess it's been resolved because it's back. You get it $29.99 from Steam and Epic. I don't know if the bugs will be fixed. I assume they must have done.
That is just such terrible timing, you know? Like, if they just fixed the bugs, they'd released it like maybe March, April 2020. I have to say, there were a lot of people indoors who'd have been like, oh yeah, let's play some Paranoia. Yeah. And now it's like people are outside again. So
yeah. Right. I mean, we are running out of news now. I think we spun this news segment out as much as we can. There's a little bit about some Fallout role-playing game releases coming from Modiphius in 2024.
Okay, yeah. What can you tell us about that? I mean, Fallout is a very popular RPG. It's happening.
Yeah. A couple of map packs. One is Vault, one is Wasteland Locales. There is a Wanderer's Guidebook with new character options and equipment and stuff. And there is a Wasteland Bestiary for New California, which probably means more to people who have played the video game than it does to me. But that is coming also.
Fallout New Vegas, which is a game I haven't played, but that sounds like maybe that might have something to do with it. Or no, Vegas isn't.
Well, there's
That's
a TV show
Nevada.
coming, isn't there?
Is there?
Early in 2024, there's a Amazon TV show for Fallout. So I guess I don't know whether it's tied into or not, but
yeah. I've tried a couple of times to get into Fallout. I tried playing the original like computer role playing game. I just did not get on well with it.
Yeah.
Because it wanted me to do things which I was not at that time well placed to do.
Yeah.
And then there was a VR version. And I really enjoyed playing Skyrim VR. So I was having a go at that. But the way they had the movement control set up was vomit inducing.
Oh dear. That is not what you want. You do not want to cause your players to vomit.
It was basically
strategic marketing tip there.
Yeah, just little thing for the VR stuff. Like generally, like VR can be queasy inducing. So a lot of ways to get around it are things like there's like a little teleport thing where you hold down a button and they teleport to that new location. And that is a bit weird, but it's not too bad. This, like you had to press a button and you'd just like slide, but you're not actually moving. So it does horrible things to your inner ear. And like my wife couldn't play it at all. I was just like, I'm not having a good time. And then there was a really complicated menu system. Like, nope, uninstall, send it back. This game is not finished cooking, sir. I will have no more of it. I can tell you that there's like a lovely little micro setting come out.
Okay.
Which I saw. Let me grab it up. It does have a bit of an unfortunate name. It's called Carcassonne Titan Rat City. Which I know, right? It's from Dungeon Age Adventures, and it's called Carcassonne Titan Rat City. But I have to say, it's it's really.
So Carcassonne is the name of the city.
I guess sort of like Carcassonne is what they're hoping to evoke. And yeah, it's like it's full of cults and has like a bunch of dungeons in there and like lots of little individual quest settings, mercenary companies.
It's like sandboxy, Just locations and questions.
They're pitching it for levels 1 to 7. And I'm like, okay, that'd be quite fun. Yeah, I could grab that, maybe Jalazar or something as well, and then have like a little bunch of like little city micro settings where people would wander between them or something.
That's interesting. System agnostic, but with appendices for 3 games: 5e, Old School Essentials, and Into the Odd. With the stats with the monsters.
So basically, and I'm like, it's a pretty little thing. I don't know, I just quite liked it really when I saw it, because when I was talking about it, they promised me Lankmar, and I felt, to be fair, that's sort of delivering.
I do like sandboxy city products. I always have done. I've always had a soft spot for those.
Yeah. It sort of gives you like a place to be, which is a bit strange. And there's always the opportunity of sewers or rooftop chases, both of which are strong dramatic tropes in my very limited lexicon.
Sewers or rooftops, up or down. As you don't combine the two. Sewer on your rooftop would be bad.
Well, I mean, if you're going with the classic trope of, or the archaeological reality of cities are built on cities are built on cities, then you could combine the both and have a rooftop chase in the sewers, just of like a lower city. So I think that would be quite fun.
Okay. You mentioned something before we started recording from Mr. Kevin Culp, did you not?
Oh, yes. I have mislaid the link. I will grab it up in a second, but Kevin Culp for Swords of Serpentine, and it's an excellent sequel to Lankmar stuff, has had a go at making Elric of Melbourne has a character in Swords of Serpentine, which is the work he did with Emily Dresner, and which we played on this podcast.
Yes.
Which I will mention inevitably every time the subject comes up. So there it is. That's the iconic hero, Elric of Melbourne.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, it's got like different ones where he's a sorcerer of demons and blades, or you could have him as a hero, along with it looks like.
Stormbringer? Has it got Stormbringer too? I assume it must have.
It does have Stormbringer. So yeah, okay. I love the way he thinks. He's like, you can play this as a 2-player game. One of you plays Elric, the other plays Stormbringer. I'm like,
that would work. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I would enjoy that. I suppose in many ways, I actually did play a convention game where I was essentially someone's magic item. Or perhaps because I just was playing a brain in a jar, and I was playing a deluded troll hopped up on virtual reality chips. So as far as I was concerned, the brain in the jar was Merlin. So yeah, I mean, was I the magic sword of Merlin, or was Merlin my guide and way around? I don't know. Anyway, sorry. Sentient magic items is a different way of looking at it.
Yeah. Well, as we're talking, 2 emails arrived.
Emails?
One was good and one was bad.
Okay.
So the bad one, I'll start with the bad one. The bad one was I just got an email from a delivery company who just said that they just tried to deliver their product, but nobody was in. I'm sitting in my office right now, facing the window and see my driveway. That did not happen. That did not happen. No delivery company came through those gates.
So someone was like saying, I wonder what that person wanted.
Yeah. So that's the bad thing. But the good thing is I just got an email from Monolith Board Game Company, who I backed the Kickstarter for their Batman Gotham City Chronicles role-playing game ages and ages ago. I have basically forgotten about it. And so I just got this email just now saying that the PDF version is here and I can download it right now, which is exciting.
Oh, nice.
Very exciting. I haven't done yet, but I think that's what I will do once this podcast is over.
So Batman board games are in your future?
What is the Batman the role-playing game? This one. So they are a board game company, but this is a role-playing game they did.
Are they a French company?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, wow, yeah. There you
go. Yeah, we covered this on Kickstarter, I think. It was like 2 years ago or something. I can't even remember when it was. It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I'm super excited about this.
Yeah,
super excited. Yeah. I hope it's good. I really do hope it's good. Anyway. Yeah. So
you'll have to run a game at the club. We still look forward to it.
Well, if it's good.
It's good. Yeah. Don't run it. It's terrible. You can keep terrible games at home, Russ. Yeah.
I'm sure.
Don't come to my club and run terrible games.
I know. I remember we covered it like a year or 2 years ago. But I can't remember a thing about it, what system it uses or anything. So I think it was a modified D20 system though. But it was kind of, as I recall, wasn't it like 3E era D20 system modified or something? I can't remember.
I remember that it existed. It was Batman and it was French. And quite frankly, like I think I'm doing bloody well at that point.
Yeah.
It looked very stylish, so if I remember, but I don't remember.
No, it looked gorgeous. Yeah, it looked utterly gorgeous. I mean, I didn't know whether I'd ever play it, but it's one of those books that I would just like to have to look at.
Yeah. Has been well established. The collecting of TTRPG games and books is a different hobby from the actual playing of them.
Yeah. Guilty as charged.
Yeah.
I have done really well this year. I cut down a lot on stuff I just like randomly backed on Kickstarter and stuff.
Yeah.
It was getting expensive, should we say?
It was.
Are we done with the
Moving
news?
on.
Is that?
I think we are.
Are you ready? We need to set off for the dungeon before it gets dark.
Oh, yeah. Just packing the last few items. Lantern, rope, 10-foot pole.
Why do you always insist on bringing a 10-foot pole?
It's useful, isn't it?
Is it, though?
It's standard dungeoneering equipment. Everybody brings a 10-foot pole.
Do they, though?
Of course they do. How else do you check the depth of pit traps?
Well, why do you need to know the depth of a pit trap?
Oh, so you know not to fall in it, of course.
I already know not to fall in a pit trap. Doesn't matter how blinking deep it is.
Well, what if we need to check the depth of a pond instead?
Pond?
Oh, like a river or a lake or a puddle or something.
So what you're saying is that a 10-foot pole is basically used for measuring the depth of things.
Things of a depth of 10 feet or less, yes.
So what if it's 11 feet deep?
Well, then I pull out my 11-foot pole, of course.
Of course. It's not the easiest thing in the world to carry around, though, is it?
Well, what do you mean? It's not that bad.
Not that bad. It's 10 feet long.
That's only about 2 elves or 3 halflings.
How do you get through doorways?
Oh, I just go in lengthwise.
What if there's a corner?
Well, I guess some pivoting is required.
Oh, come on, be honest. It's pretty pointless, isn't it?
Pointless? It's the single most versatile piece of entering kit there is.
Well, for certain values of versatile.
Oh, you can use it to poke things.
Poke things?
Yes, like traps or dragons.
My friend, I ain't poking a dragon with no pole, 10 foot or no.
You can prop things open,
What things open?
like those crushing wall trap things.
Oh, the good old trash compactor trick. Didn't really work so well, though, did it?
Well, you could make a bridge with it.
I'm wearing 80 pounds of plate now. You think I'm going to tiptoe across a glorified tightrope?
I don't know. You could give it a try.
I have a horse.
Fine, fine. You can hang a bucket on it.
Hang a bucket on it?
Yeah, or, several buckets.
If you must leave your senses, why would I want to hang several buckets off a 10-foot pole?
Well, makes for a good flagpole.
Right.
Or a ladder.
Huh? How are the 9 duchies to use a 10-foot pole as a ladder?
Well, you have to cut it in half.
Oh, what about the steps?
Right. So maybe you cut it in thirds.
So you have a 3-foot ladder.
Yes.
Well, so it's more like a step, really.
You could stick a helmet on it to decoy the enemy.
Ah, you're really stretching here.
Pole vault, walking stick for a giant, get things out of trees.
Look, my friend, I think you need to accept that a 10-foot pole is the most pointless bit of dungeoneering gear possible. It's unwieldy, it's impractical, it serves no useful function, and frankly, it's unflattering.
If it's so useless, why is it in the player's handbook?
They've got a bleeding abacus in the player's handbook. You carry one of those around too?
Of course. What if I need to count something?
Oh, look at all this junk you've packed. A bell, a random glass bottle, a bucket,
For the pole,
candles, chalk, a draft horse,
getting that in my backpack was a challenge, I cannot tell you.
a drum, fishing tackle, ink and mirror, a net, an iron pot, sealing wax. What are these?
Oh, these vestments.
Vestments.
Yeah.
And a whistle, a basket, cobbler's tools, and a canoe.
I just believe in being well prepared.
Well prepared? You've got enough here to start your own junk shop.
Look, I'm getting a little bit tired of all this. You travel as light as you want, mate, but don't come crying to me when you find yourself in desperate need of a pair of snowshoes.
Snowshoes? We're going to explore the Grand Pyramid of the Parched Dunes. Why in the 12 realms would I find myself in desperate need of a pair of snowshoes?
Whatever. Look, the rain has stopped. Let's get moving. I want to be out of town before the afternoon market rush.
Fine. Let's go. We can cut through Barker Street here.
What is it?
Looks like a puddle.
Oh, a near insurmountable obstacle. How deep is it?
Fine. You win. Hand me that 10-foot pole.
Malach the Maleficent here. If, like me, you're enjoying this podcast, please consider subscribing on Patreon for exclusive bonus content every week and the warm, fuzzy feeling of knowing you are helping to keep the show going. Subscribe at patreon.com/Morrus. There, I said it. Can you stop staring at me like that now? The things I do. All right. Don't forget. Patreon.com/Morrus. Can I go now?
The biggest piece of news this week was the whole artificial intelligence thing. Again, the AI art spectre has reared its ugly head yet again in 2 different ways this week.
Oh, yeah, sir.
So I'm going to start with the smaller one and then we'll go on to the bigger one. The first one was Nightfall Games, who make the Terminator RPG.
Yes. Previously, the people who did Slay Industry as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in a highly ironic turn of events.
Uh-oh. Okay, what happened?
Well, the Terminator 2 sourcebook, which is upcoming, hasn't been published yet. They discovered that a freelance artist had submitted, I think it was about 16 pieces of art to them for the game. And that they were AI generated.
Wow.
So they kind of like, a couple of them looked at the art and a couple of them said, this is a bit suspicious, this is a bit weird. And they apparently asked, they haven't named the artist, asked the artist whether or not it was AI generated. The artist was apparently not Skynet, by the way, just before, before the obvious joke gets made. It's just like,
Did Sarah Connor report this?
Yes. No.
Okay, just checking. Because there was Sarah Connor on Twitter who reported like a big problem with robots going berserk in the factory. And then she was like, yes, I now see in retrospect that my name could cause humour in this situation, but it's really quite a tragedy. Several people have died.
Yes.
Try and focus, people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
We digress.
Yes. Well, the same sense of irony can be applied to this because AI art turning up in a Terminator game is ironic. Anyway, they discovered it beforehand.
Yes.
The artist said, no, it's not AI, but it turned out after a bit more investigation, it was. So they obviously are not using the art and they're getting new art to replace it.
Yeah.
So no harm was it was done because apparently they had paid the artist as well.
Ooh.
Which is awkward, but still. They're a small company, they say. They have a policy against using AI art.
Wrong.
Yeah. They don't want to use it themselves. They don't want to cheat their backers and customers and put AI art in their books after, everything, and
some people feel fairly strongly about it, like myself included. Yeah. And they want to reassure everybody that their work is all AI free.
So I guess they're taking a hit cost wise. I don't know whether they can recover the money from that artist. I don't know who the artist was, but I don't know. I'm glad they caught it before because imagine.
Yes.
I mean, that does happen. It's even happened to us before. There was a piece in, I think it was an early Geek Pass Gazette, which we had no idea was AI.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gone now. We got rid of it.
Yeah, scrubbed it. But
but
any print copies were still in existence. Yeah,
we had no idea.
Yeah.
So it does happen. It does happen.
Yeah, I mean, this does bring us into a flawless segue, Russ, which is very unlike us, which honestly we haven't planned because, let's face it, careful planning is not exactly a hallmark of this podcast.
I don't know what you mean. This podcast is meticulously planned to the last detail.
Really? Who's doing that then?
I totally do not write the sketches like half an hour before we're due to go live. That never ever happens. Definitely not.
Oh yeah. It's at least 3/4 of an hour.
One day I will write a sketch in advance. Not today. No, I did not today.
Today is not that day.
Today is not that day. Anyway,
as you will see in the chat, I have put isitai.com.
Yes. So I mean, there's a few of these tools out there that
yes.
But the problem is they're not great.
Yes.
They're not great at all, and it's not as I mean, that leads us onto this thing with Wizards of the Coast, then I guess, because that is how this happened. So, what happened was there was a YouTuber.
Yes.
Goes by the name Indestructiboy, I think it was Indestructiboy, and this YouTuber posted on Twitter. The recent announcements of the 2024 Wizards of the Coast D&D releases, and one of them had a picture of a dwarf running towards the viewpoint. And it was it's basically the advert for the 2024 core rulebooks.
Oh yeah. I've seen that picture, but on my phone.
It's a nice picture. It's a good piece of art. But this YouTuber posted on Twitter, something feels really off about this, but I don't know how to prove it. And then proceeded to make a YouTube video claiming that this was AI art, that they'd run it through some kind of AI art detection algorithm.
AI or not,
thing.
Sort of jazz.
One of those things, which had confirmed that it was. Didn't ask. Okay. Didn't try to find out who the artist was. Didn't ask the artist. Didn't do even a basic bit of checking. Nothing at all. And just put that out there, just saying this is AI art.
Right.
Then Christian Hoffer over at comicbook.com did the right thing, found out who the artist was, emailed the artist, and said, is this AI art? And the artist replied, no, it's most definitely not AI art. I am strongly anti-AI. If you took a cursory look at my portfolio, you will see that I tackle my stuff not AI. I'm very anti-AI. Yeah. This is not AI art. I can prove it. Here are the sketches. Here's the grayscale. Here's the works in progress. Not that he should have to prove it.
God, no. But I do tend to take people at their word.
Yeah. So basically,
it's hard. It's so hard. It's like I saw something the other day, and the hands looked wolfeny. I said, "Is it?" But I said, "Is it? Who's the artist?" Because that hands are really
famously hard to do, even for good artists.
Yeah.
let alone AI. I've heard lots of artists tell me this really hard to do. Hands and feet are apparently quite hard too.
You can have very successful careers in comics. We're not saying anyone loved Liefeld. Oh, excuse me. Oh, sorry. We'll have to edit out that unfortunate sneeze there. Without having 0 feet and so many pouches.
Yes, exactly.
And only a passing acquaintance with how muscles in the human body might work. So
slightly odd bits in art don't necessarily mean it was AI. It might just mean that the artist didn't, that some things are hard. Art's hard. Art is hard. That's why not everyone can do it.
And hands are weird. Yeah, no. It's a problem with the old tech going along.
Yeah, but so Indestructible Voice tweet said, "I'm just tired at this point. Something felt incredibly off about this piece in the D&D 2024 PAX U showcase from Wizards of the Coast. But I didn't want to witch hunt. I just don't think this piece Wizards of the Coast showed off is 100% human, but I have no idea how you prove it." And then went on to make this video claiming it was definitely AI.
Right.
So Christian Hoffer contacted the person, the artist in question, the excellent artist, because it's a really good piece of art. It's called I hope I pronounced Nestor Osandon.
Nice.
Who
strong name.
Yeah. And said, first of all, I do not use artificial intelligence for my work, and no one but you and my director, as in the art director, have asked me this. It's like nobody even thought to ask.
Yeah.
Until Christian Hoffer did. Like all the people that were talking about it on Twitter and all this sort of stuff, nobody thought to ask at all. They just took it as read that because this YouTuber had said it, it was true.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't like to. I mean, I'd at least ask first. Yeah. So I guess that is a problem with AI tools. They can lead to witch hunts, sort of thing.
Well, the tool that he used gave an AI probability of 97.3% on this.
Okay.
And it was.
Well, I hope it's not. Is it AI.com?
I don't know what it is. I don't know which one.
That is a concern. Yeah. Well, that is a concern because, it's very hard to get any sort of provenance as to who's making these sort of things.
Yeah, these things are not good. These AI detection tools, they are not good at all. I would never base any kind of public statement about someone based on what one of those said, because I think the hit and miss rate aren't much better than chance, if you guess.
I don't have the details, but an example that springs to mind is someone was like this. I'm not going to name names because this would definitely be unsubstantiated gossip in many respects. But someone was saying, "Look, this is like a huge book. It's full of these weird tables. None of it makes a lot of sense." I'm looking at the free preview, which they're basing it on. I'm like, well, yes, that is a lot of tables. None of it makes a lot of sense. But then it's an OSR piece. How do I distinguish between bad writing and AI writing and poorly formatted AI stuff? So, it's hard. It's hard. If it's like a piece of continuous prose, I can say this is awful.
Yes, but you don't necessarily know whether that's because it's a poor writer or whether it's AI.
Yeah, and there's like a whole website's come up which someone also flagged up. I can't remember the name. I'm not inclined to give them any clicks, so that's just as well. But basically, it was saying things like, rogues benefited from cloak of invisibility because it helped them fulfill the face role in a party. And you're giving me a look again, where you're like, what? How does that even work? And that is the question. How does that even work? So is this someone who has no idea what they're talking about, saying, this will help? Or is this basically AI balderdash? I'm inclined to go with AI balderdash because it's just like someone would say, the question, how does the cloak of invisibility help you persuade people to do what you want, right? Is something that a human would probably ask. And I probably wouldn't. But someone's just put up like a whole page talk about magic items for rogues and how it would help them out. It's just like, I could see that if you did not have any experience, you'd look at that and you'd be like, oh, okay, that seems reasonable, because it's this confident, authoritative tone that's going with it.
Yeah. So, yeah,
No problem,
Yeah, so the YouTube has taken down the YouTube video, and I think the tweet as well, put up an apology video.
Good.
Saying they didn't really consider, they just saw Wizards of the Coast and didn't really consider that they were
There was
talking
an actual
about
artist
an
behind
actual
it.
artist who's trying to make a living, and the damage that could have been done. I think fortunately they didn't actually name, I say fortunately, but didn't actually name the artist in the video because they didn't go so far as to even check who it was. So hopefully it didn't damage the artist's reputation because no one from that video would have known who it was. But that doesn't make it right.
I mean, I'd say if you're in the UK, this would be a terrible plan because you could be sued under UK libel laws if you did that sort of thing. And you do not want to be sued under UK libel laws. They are very, very harsh. I don't
want to be sued under any laws for anything, but
oh no, absolutely, yeah. But the people will come to get things done in UK courts specifically because libel laws are very hard.
Yeah, libel tourism is a thing. Yeah.
True fact.
Yeah. So anyway, so that happened. So Wizards of the Coast put out a statement, basically updating their sort of position on AI. Which is short, but we became aware of community concerns that generative AI was used in an art piece we recently teased. We confirmed with the artist that no generative AI was used, which is consistent with our artist guidelines restricting it. We're happy with the artwork. We hope you enjoy it as much as we do. We can't wait to share more of it with you soon. So basically, a statement saying, no, this piece was not AI. But they shouldn't. I was like, they shouldn't have to do that. But I think we are possibly going to get to a world where, because when we put up products now, we often very quickly get asked, or we get customer service emails to our Shopify store and things. Who are the artists? Was an AI art? People ask, and it's good. They, people are doing their due diligence. They don't want to buy, but I think we're getting to a point where you are actually going to have to proactively state that things are not AI.
Well,
I mean, a lot of the platforms say that you should state if it is, but I think we might get to the point where you're just going to have to go and say no AI in this book.
Oh, if memory serves, the Level Up compatibility logo acts in that sort of fashion, because anyone using the Level Up compatibility logo has, not too long ago, has to basically confirm that it's not allowed to use AI art.
Yeah,
that's now part of the terms and conditions for using it.
Yeah.
Along with not using advanced. So sorry about that.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about Level Up at the time. I got to say I was taking shots somewhere else. But anyway, we should move on. Let's move on to talk about updated statements of AI from Wizards.
Yeah. So
because there was a thing that I see a lot of people got quite annoyed about in the context of the recent 1,100 jobs cut at Hasbro, advertising for people to do essentially touch-up work on art and so forth. And then there's the updated statement on AI, which have led a number of people to come to a conclusion, which I was also confused by, but which you have explained to me is perhaps not the correct conclusion.
I mean, I don't know any more than you do. I've got no insight into this. It's just my reading of it.
Yeah. Like there are multiple valid readings. For instance, it says 50 years D&D has been built on innovation, ingenuity, talented people, etc. That isn't changing. Our internal guidelines remain the same with regards to AI tools, require artists, writers, and creatives contributing to D&D to refrain from using AI generative tools to create final D&D products. I put the stress on final there because that's the sort of thing which has got a lot of people upset, which is they're like, well, does that mean that they're just going to get AI stuff and then touch it up later and then say it's not AI? Which, well, I would say very much that is AI with someone touching it up. Because, in honesty, that is what a lot of corporations, not in the tabletop role-playing game industry, but outside of it, are basically working towards or actively doing. They're producing AI stuff and then paying one person and just sacking the rest of their art department. So it's not without precedent. But
I agree that's a valid reading of that. Like, that's not how I read it myself. That's not.
Okay. How did you read it? Because I think you said Ian Wold uses the same wording.
So I mean, this create final D&D products. I read that as just kind of being the final polished product, as opposed to the last D&D products. If you get what I mean.
Yeah. I don't think that that they're saying that they're ending D&D.
Yeah.
That isn't like
and the touch up
driving
thing.
at.
Yeah, and the touch up thing. I don't think that is to touch up AI stuff. I don't. I think. Well, I don't know, obviously, but I don't think that's what that's for.
Yeah.
And I think it would be so blatant if they went and did that. After making all these statements, there's no way they wouldn't get caught. Do you know what I mean? It's just too.
I mean, people. We've already seen people ready to jump the gun, as it were, about real things. So, like, false positives are pretty serious because false positive basically labels an actual artist's work as AI, and
vice versa as well. They fail to identify AI as well.
Things. That's a false negative. So it's definitely an issue. So all right. So let's burn that bridge when I come from. But we shouldn't give Wizards of the Coast a hard time or Hasbro a hard time for things they haven't actually done. There's plenty of stuff they have done we should give them a hard time for.
Exactly. I think I want to sort of touch on this whole YouTube thing anyway, because I'm kind of finding that my YouTube feed is full of, and I don't know whether this is YouTube's algorithm or whether it incentivizes this sort of content, but it's very, very hyperbolic, negative material about the stuff that I'm interested in. Not just D&D, but, I'm a big Doctor Who fan as well. My YouTube feed is full of things about how D&D is, Doctor Who is dying, and Doctor Who is dead, Doctor Who is over, and how it's a massive fading catastrophe, when clearly it is not. It is doing very well.
Ridiculous to say otherwise, especially when you've got the shitty thingy.
Yeah, so it's not just D&D, it's Doctor Who, it's D&D. It's like anything I'm kind of interested in on YouTube. And what you get is these thumbnail graphics of these big sort of hyperbolic, possibly kind of a question or a statement, someone's big shocked face, maybe a big red arrow pointing at something, or a fake graph scaling downwards or something like that. And I've seen so much of this stuff for all of the stuff that I think like YouTube, I guess, must incentivize that kind of material.
Well, yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, if you think about the economic incentives, YouTube does not get money from us. Yeah, we're not going to pay YouTube for stuff, so YouTube gets money from advertisers. Yeah. So the way it gets advertising is people looking at things and sitting through those advertisements before the actual video comes on, and the best way, demonstrably, to get people to look at more stuff is rage and annoyance. So all it needs is for you to click on, is you to share it around and say, look at this idiot, look at this damn fool. He is literally melting out their brains. Look how stupid they are talking about Doctor Who. All you have to do is share that, right? And YouTube don't care. That's another 10, 15,
engagement is
20.
Engagement, isn't it? There's no positive or negative engagement to YouTube. It's just engagement. Yeah.
And it's it's incentivized to do that financially because more people look at it. Rage drives clicks. And again, similar with moderation, people are engaged in perpetual line dancing. Saying the most outrageous things they possibly can without getting banned. And the moderation favors that because the moderation is for advertisers.
Yeah.
It's centralized social media, man. It's just how it works. Yeah.
There was a lot of really good content, really, really good content on YouTube. And I follow a lot of really, really good creators on YouTube. And,
absolutely same. It's I don't generally enjoy video stuff, but sometimes a video essay, I might have it on double speed or whatever, but I am actually sometimes, for some people, I'm prepared to sit there for the best part of half an hour or 45 minutes watching it because it is so good and so relevant to my interests. And then normally what happens is it tries to roll on into somebody. I'm like, who is this bozo with their terrible opinion? You're just wrong.
I think
from the get-go.
Yeah.
You're telling me things which I know for facts are not true. Yeah. Get out of here. Yeah. Why is this in my feed? But and the reason why,
absolutely,
moderation for advertisers. It's annoying, but it's what it is.
Yeah, so that's it. That's it for this week. That's it for this year, because we won't be back until January now. We're taking a week off for Christmassy and New Year-y things, where we're going to eat a lot of stuff and drink a lot of stuff and sleep a lot, I think, as well.
Sleep.
Lots of sleep. Yeah. So thank you to everybody for listening. Thank you, Peter, for being such a wonderful co-host. Thank you, Jess, who's not here, for being such a wonderful co-host. Jess is in Wales fighting dragons, and we'll be back in the new year.
Why is she in Wales? Like, that's a terrible place to fight a dragon. There's no space.
But there's lots of dragons.
I thought there'd be more fish.
Stop it.
Or krill.
Stop it. Stop it, Peter.
We should probably get to saying Happy Christmas and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Yes.
Or Happy Holidays, what have you.
Hope everybody has an amazing holiday. And we will see you in January
2024. Is hoping it sucks less.
Yeah. All right.
Optimism.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Apparently, I now have to read this to you. This is the official podcast of Morris's unofficial tabletop RPG news, which you can find at enworld.org. You can find show notes at morris.podbean.com or wherever you found the podcast. If you feel like they deserve it, you can support the show on Patreon. In return, you will receive exclusive bonus content. Just go to patreon.com/Morris. If you're interested in his babbling nonsense, you can follow @Morris on the Twitter. Send your emails to morrispodcast@gmail.com. Not all of your emails, just the ones you want us to see. That's it. I'm bored now. You can go away. Shoo, off you go. Goodbye. Get out of here.
I can get online. Zoom sorted itself out, so that is looking acceptable.
They're so rude about when they choose to update, aren't they?
Yeah, how about you update when I'm switching you off? How about then? I don't care then.
I find it's worse when it's items that you don't use that often. So like my console, I don't use that often. Steam, I don't use that often, and things like that. So that basically means every single time I use them, I have to sit through like a 10-minute update, and that just puts me off using them because I can't be bothered. So